Hey up and welcome to another episode of Last Cast. Joining us today on Monkton pulls. We've just finished a session filming a video for the pellet waggler and bomb, and it's getting towards the late afternoon now, and as I say, we've concluded that episode, but we've certainly seen a few bits of activity of carp in the margins. So what we're going to do is have a quick go for them down there, just nice and quick, keeping things really simple. Quickly look at the rig that I'm going to use. So the margins here are quite deep, about probably 3 foot or so. So with that in mind, I've gone for a 0.5 gram float. I've got a size 12 camsad animal tied to 0.17 hook length, 0.19 mainline, strung bulk there, about 0.5 of a gram. The float itself is a 0.5 gram styrofoam style pattern that you'll probably see me using most of my margin fishing episodes. And then above the float there, I've just got 2 number 8 backshot. That's just helped me pull it towards the near side bank. I'm only fishing, well, less than a top kit out today, so just down there. So it's nice and easy for me to see the float. Bait wise, sorry. Again, keeping it dead simple. In terms of ground bait, just using Sonia Bait's margin carp, mixed really wet because of the depth. There's a few micro pellets in there that I've chucked in from the method mix. Fed a few sixers, and I've got some tutti frutti corn as well. So that's a nice visual bait for this coloured water. And it's dead simple. All I've done to kick off is I've put in 5 or 6 pots of the ground bait, nice and full, and I've just cut that in as tight to the edge as I can get, just like so. And then I've also put in a pot of 6 mils with a few bits of corn as well, and we've had a few indications already. So what I'm going to do now is get back down there and hopefully catch a few carp. Right, so as I say, we're fishing for quality fish, so the hook bait of choice is going to be double corn. So I've not brought my usual kind of margin baits today because this is just sort of a quick little effort down the edge while we've got a bit of time left. So I'm just using any leftover bait that I've got. The crucial thing with these margins is the fact that it's very deep. So that's why I've gone for a heavy float. But equally, there's the fact that I've tried to find a decent depth of water but as tight to the bank as I can get, and luckily I've found a clear area because it is quite snaggy here. That's literally 2 inches from the bank, and that's where I found that depth. So that's where I've fed. I've plumbed up and found a nice flat area there, away from any tree roots. There was a tempting bit, another section round the corner, but when I've plumbed up, there's just been far too many tree roots to fish there effectively. So I've plumbed up really carefully, decided to see how tight to the bank I can get to find a clear spot, and luckily I found an area now which seems to be absolutely perfect for it. In terms of depth, I've actually set the float about 3 or 4 inches over depth, and that's hopefully just to get enough line laying on the bottom so it allows me to drag that hook bait and the rig all the way up that slope so I can get the shot as tight to the near side bank as I can. So basically it keeps everything out of the way, and that just leaves the hook bait in the feeding area. And again, that's also why I've got those 2 back shot on as well, because that's constantly pulling the float towards where the end of the top kit is, especially with this breeze that we've got going as well. Right, so in this depth of water I'm getting a lot of indications, so I've actually left the full bristle showing of the float, which is crucial. I'm not looking to strike at any tiny indications. I can see the floats going down and coming back up, and those are line bites. So what I'm looking for is a positive pull away from the float, so it should absolutely bury from there. So obviously having the full bristle means I've got maximum buoyancy to pull, well, for the float to pull away from the line bite and resettle. Obviously using a heavy float with back shot as well means that the rig's absolutely nailed to that near side bank. So I'm only looking for really positive indications on this. Yes. Right, there's a carp now. Had to wait a little bit longer than I expected for that bite, but still, nice positive indication on the float. It's turning plenty of water. Just having to hold on to this one a little bit. So fishing very heavy lines and hooks as well, because of the size of fish in here. Elastic wise though, I've not gone silly heavy, I've gone for a double 10. It's elastic I've got a lot of faith in when I'm margin fishing, just seems absolutely perfect for carp from pound up to well into double figures. As you can see there, I've not had to put any extra sections on just yet. He didn't run straight out, he actually tried to go down the bank, this one. So I've got to pull a kit on here just in case I need to take any extra elastic off him. That's a nice carp, this one. Lovely dark fish. Not a massive one, but still, lovely fish to catch. So it just hooked in the top lip. Lovely condition for this commercial. Really old fish, that one. There you go, lovely carp. Caught down the edge on double corn. So put him back and hopefully we can get a few a bit bigger. So as per usual with margin fishing, after catching one fish, it's important that you get some more bait down there. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm just going to pop that top kit out the way. Pick up my cupping kit. Just move the ground bait a bit nearer. I'm going to put in full pot of ground bait. I'm just going to compact that down slightly because of the depth of water. I'm just feeding that right over the top. Then I'm going to follow that up with a good sized handful of 6mm pellets. What I'm going to do with these is put some water in the pole cup before I actually feed them. That way you just ensure that they all sink, and you also get a bit more of the noise factor with them in terms of sort of replicating that of an angler packing up when you tip the water in. So a few grids of corn in as well as hook samples, or hook bait samples, sorry. I'm just going to tip those in from a bit of a height over the top of that and spread them out a little bit. And hopefully that should mean there's another couple of fish down there waiting now. So I'll just quickly sort the rig out and then we'll get back out there. Right, so after that last fish there, I'm just going to check the depth against my marker. It's important that when you're catching sizable fish down the edge that you do that. It just avoids foul hooking fish unintentionally when you do go back in. Say you've got the floats moved down too much and you might be foul hooking fish in the back then. So what I do is I've always got a piece of electrical tape just on there where I've plumbed up at dead depth, and then what I'm actually doing is fishing nearly a full float over depth, so I've got most of the hook length down there. Again, it just avoids foul hooking fish, and there's a nice flat bottom there where I'm able to drag the hook bait just close into the bank, and as yet I've not foul hooked a single fish. So it's just another little tip to have in mind. So once again, just going to slip on double corn. Hopefully that last feed there's just got a few more fish focused in on where they were feeding. Because I often say when a fish like that exits the peg, it's going to spread the bait out, so putting a bit more down just gets them back into where you're wanting to catch them. So hopefully it shouldn't be too long before we have another bite. So as you can probably see now, there's plenty of fish down there, getting loads of indications. Float's constantly moving, but as I said, that's the crucial thing with this, is having that full bristle showing, so I can distinguish between line bites and proper indications to strike at. Like that one there. Right on cue, that fish. I think might have to add some extra sections for this one. Actually, it might be quite well behaved instead. But key thing is to always have them there as the option. I was saying, nice positive pull under of the float there, straight into a fish. Again, these fish are often quite a good size down the margin, but strangely they don't seem to fight quite as much as when you catch the smaller fish across or in open water. But it's always worth having those extra sections just in case you do hook one that decides to go mad, or say in the instance that you do actually foul hook one off, and that's when you'll really need your extra sections to follow fish out. So I'm putting a fair bit of pressure on these fish because I've got some tree cover down to the near side, and these stagings the fish really do like to try and get under them, so it's important that you do try and keep them out like this one is trying to now. So just trying to guide him round a little bit. Another good fish this time. It really does show, say in a match, how quickly you can put a weight together with these fish. I'm not having to wait long at all between bites, but again that comes down to sort of refeeding and where you decide to fish in your peg. Actually, it's nice. What looks like a ghost carp. It's either a very pale common or a ghosty, so we'll just pop the top kit out the way there. It's almost silver, this one. Quite a contrast to that last fish that we just had. So perfectly hooked just in the scissors. Just use disgorge to get that hook out. Still got plenty of energy in the net, which is often because I've not really played him too much in open water. I've put the pressure on him to get him away from all the snags. He's really rolling himself in the line now. Right, so there you have it, lovely common carp there, caught down the edge. It's incredibly well hooked, so I've just had to use the forceps to nick the hook out of him there. Lovely fish though to catch down the edge, so we'll get him put back now. Right, so again after that fish there, as you just seen, going to pick up the cupping kit again. Slowly run out of bait here as well, because we're putting quite a lot at the start. So again, good generous cupful of ground bait. So just pressing that down a bit, because then it almost acts like a ball of ground bait, so it just helps it get to the bottom a bit quicker. Exactly the same again. Get some water in the cup. Just put in the remaining 6mm pellets. Just a bit of corn as well. I say not really fully prepared today for this, but it's just something to do after catching a few on the pellet waggler and just using up the last bits of bait that we've got left. So exactly the same again. Cupping that in with a bit of water as well, just to make a bit more noise. And then hopefully we'll be able to get another one of these old carp that come down the edge and feed at this time of day. It's often the older, wiser fish that you'll catch down there, and that's why some of them look a bit tatty. Is they've been in here quite a while, so it's one way to catch them, is to just fish down the edge later on in the day like this. It's exactly the same job again, checking that depth. See the float's moved down about ½ an inch there, so just going to move that back up again. Then we should be ready for another bite. So as you can see there, that's the hook bait, just double corn, side hooked, so trying to make the bait as big as possible, and that's just to be more selective for the carp. And what I'm doing when I'm putting that rig in the margin there, so I'm just setting the corner of the shots further out and then letting it swing in and just lifting that float about 2 inches out of the water, just so it all swings in tight to that near side bank. Right, there's another one now. And it's not taking long for these bites. Another good fish, this one, feels really heavy. Slowly setting off into the middle of the lake. Again, not having to wait long at all for bites. And that's, as I say, crucial to with the feeding. It's barely putting up a fight at all, this one. As I was saying about old fish, this one certainly looks like it's been near a fair few years. Barely fought at all. I don't think he really knew he was hooked. Oh, it's a cracking fish to catch. And the hook's just dropped out in the net as well. He's rolled himself in the line. There we go. Get this rig out the way. And we'll hopefully be able to have a look at him. As you can see, that's a really old fish, that one. Seen plenty of battles. Barely put up a fight, but I don't think he really knew he was hooked, barely went on a run. But a cracking fish to catch. Always check these larger margin fish for any hooks that might be left in them as well, because often those are the fish that have snapped people's hook lengths and rigs in the past, so it's always worth just checking them. So we'll get a bit more bait in and hopefully get another one now. Right, so we're slowly running out of bait here, so that'll be the last of the ground bait that'll be able to cup in now. Still a full pot though, so there's plenty of bait down there. I'm just putting in a few more grains of corn, and that's pretty much what it's going to look like on the bottom with the corn over the ground bait. So you can see how visual that bait is. That's why we're able to get bites fairly quickly. So same again, exactly the same area, just cupping that in, followed up by a bit of water as well. You can see we've had 3 fish in 3 chucks, all of a good size. So again, just reiterating what we said about what you can catch later on in the day, especially in match situations. Just going to adjust the shots on the rig again. That's one of the things about these stots, they don't actually damage the line, so I'm quite happy to use them when I'm fishing for big fish. So again, just going to check that depth as well. So there's no point rushing to get a bait back in there, because that bait will be settling and the carp will just be getting more and more confident as they feed on it. So yeah, that looks perfect. So just going to go for exactly the same hook bait again, double corn, and hopefully we'll be able to get another fish before we run out of bait completely. Bubbles coming up behind it now. Just had an eruption of bubbles. Right, so there's definitely a carp or 2 down there now. I'm really expecting a bite because bubbles have just erupted right next to the float. There's clearly 1 or 2 fish down there grubbing around. I think plumbing around and finding a nice big flat spot in the area that I've found has really paid dividends in terms of the fish that I'm catching. Not had a single issue with foul hooking yet. And I'm getting really positive indications on the float. So the thing is with that is you want to get that bait as close, or your rig and bait as close to the near side banking as you can, just to avoid fish coming in behind and creating foul hookers, giving you false indications. So that means that all the fish are trying to get the hook bait in the same direction, and therefore you're more likely to get really positive bites. Oh, missed that one. Look at the swirl behind float there. So I've just missed a bite there. Seen a huge swirl behind the float, which is quite surprising in 3 foot of water, but clearly the big fish that are down there and they're feeding with their tails up, so as soon as you miss a bite then they're spooking and creating those vortices. There's certainly no shortage of fish down there. Okay, just had a massive line bite there. And that's the key thing, using a nice positive float and rig. I'm able to distinguish between those line bites and the real bites to hit. So with any style of fishing you are going to miss the odd one, but it's important that you can distinguish when that's been a proper bite or whether it's been a line bite. Right, into another one here. This one's really setting off out into the middle of the lake in a bit of a contrast to the previous few, so going to add a few sections just in case. As with the others, he starts to come straight back towards me. Seems that all the fish that I've hooked down there, they've immediately gone out and then tried to get down this near side, which is quite interesting. I believe that's because I'm fishing almost on a miniature point there. I don't think they want to go around it particularly. Feels like another quality fish though. So again, I'm going to put a fair amount of pressure on this fish. I think we'll probably call this the last one of the margin fish. It's like a lovely big common. As I say, we've had 4 very quick fish just fishing down the edge, so it's been an enjoyable half hour of fishing. Some really good sport. He's really trying to go around the corners, this one. So you just got to be careful because there is the odd snag down there. So luckily he's come back around this side. He's trying to get under this near side banking again. There's catching some real quality fish down the edge. Just going to try and get his head up now. That's probably going to be the biggest one that we'll catch today, is that. Can barely fit him in the net. Lovely big common carp. Pop that out of the way. Certainly into double figures, this one. Looks absolutely immaculate. So what I'll do is I'll sort the rig out and then we'll hopefully be able to get a couple of shots of him with the cameras. Right, so that's the hook popped out. Just get this top kit out of the way and we'll hopefully be able to have a quick look at him. Proper carp, caught down the margins, really shows what you can do, and that's just with a bit of leftover bait that we've had today. An absolute clonking fish, certainly well into double figures that one. So we'll get him put back and that should conclude our session today, because unfortunately we've run out of bait. There he goes, he's swum off now. Right, it's after that fish there that you've just seen. Hopefully that's given you an idea of just what you can achieve by fishing down the margins. We've had 4 fish there, probably for the best part of 25–30 pounds. Cracking bit of sport, just with a bit of leftover ground bait and a few bits of corn that we've had. So if you get your rigs right, plumb up and find a good area to fish, then you can catch just as well as we have there. So once again, thanks for watching. Hopefully you've learnt a few things. Don't forget to subscribe as well, and we'll see you on that next episode. Right, so we've just concluded the session there, but when the fishing's this good down the margins, can't resist having one last cast, so going to pop another couple of pieces of corn on and see if we can get one more before we go home. Right, so we've ended up hooking one on our last cast. Just had to have one more fish before we go home. So that's it, pretty much it bait wise. Probably got only 5 or 6 grains of sweet corn left, so don't think we'll have any more after this. It's like another quality fish though. Again, float just absolutely buried. But strange as I was saying today, that I've not really had to add sections for these margin fish, which is quite surprising. Often they really tear off, but I suspect because these fish are so large that they just don't really do that. It's often the smaller fish, as I was saying earlier, that do. But again, a perfect bite. Float just absolutely disappeared. Just try and get his head up now. Again, you can see once you use the puller kit with this double 10 elastic that there's no need to go silly heavy with them. Lovely and soft on the strike, and the fish just swim out of your peg. But once you tighten up a little bit, then as you can see, the fish really have nowhere to go. So he's just swimming in ever smaller circles, but as I say, cracking spot down this margin. There's another quality fish, another big common. Again, quite possibly double figures. Landing net pull caught in the trees behind me. Again, another lovely fish. Let's work out where the line's gone. That's definitely our last cast, is that one. As is the way with these, they always wrap themselves in the line just perfectly nicked right in the scissors. And the hook's just dropped out in the net. So once again, we'll just try and hold him up for camera. Another fantastic margin fish, beautiful common carp. Fantastic condition. Cracking fish to catch. So that's it from last cast today. I think what we'll do is we'll pack up and get heading home.